Before we get into more of the interesting bits, I know I said that was the previous lesson was the last lesson, but it just occurred to me that we actually need to address some other requirements. So this course is about how to use AI in the workplace, and this particular course is focusing on the use of ChatGPT. So I just thought it would be nice to just use this opportunity before we get serious to understand what you need for this course. Now, I believe in the concept of learning by doing. If you don't do it, if you don't put effort in to be more practical about it, you're never gonna learn. You're never gonna really understand how it works. That's one of my key principles. So for this course, what you need, ideally, obviously, you need a laptop. You're probably watching this course on a laptop, and you need a ChatGPT account. Now, for this beginner level course, you just need to have a free plan. But if you are going to be doing a lot of iterations and trying to practice and all that, and you don't want to be hitting, the free plan rate limit, you you're better off just having a plus subscription. I'm just gonna quickly brush over to have a look at the ChatGPT pricing. So if you look at the ChatGPT pricing for free, you get you get limited access to your models, and then you get limited uploads and all that. So if you're uploading a lot of files and you're trying to practice, you're doing a lot of things, then you will cut off. But it doesn't mean you can't follow along. You can. The next level up is the Go, which is just about €8 a month. Again, I don't know where you are watching this call from, but I'm in Europe. €8, I think it's affordable. I am currently on the Plus, the €23 per month, and it's the best investment I've ever done. And there's a lot of more useful resources that comes with this subscription, which we might talk about some in this course, and but it'll be more into the advanced course that follow up after this. But I just thought it'd be nice to show you if you are really going to be interested in using AI in your work and you're more into using ChatGPT, that's why you're learning this course, then you're better off trying to sub at this level. So back to the core requirements. Obviously, you need an internet connection. You need some basic office skills because obviously the context of this course is to apply ChatGPT or AI in general in your line of work. So I'm assuming you're already working. So you already have some basic office skills. You know how to write an email. You know how to read an email. You know how to put two and two together to know that you need to reply an email. You know how to type. You know how to create documents. You know how to create reports and all that. All the manual bits, all the things that you used to do manually in your line of work as an administrator. You could be working in IT. You could be working in finance, customer support, management, whatever. And you're familiar with copying and pasting. So like when you just highlight your cursor over a text and you copy and paste. Yes, we're going to start with copying and pasting because you have to start from somewhere. And then at least basic workplace communication, like when you need to set the tone high, when you need to set the tone low, and what kind of context is this? Is this TMI? Is this too much information? Or, do I need to dial it down a bit? All this, you need to be familiar with some of these things. I'm assuming you have all these things at the back of your mind. So those are some of the things that we'll be using as our foundation while we dive deeper into this course. And just a couple of pro tips in terms of whoever is taking on this course. Now, before I get to that, this course is going to have some materials that I would make sure I include them in wherever necessary. And there'll be a downloadable workbook if you want to follow along. And there's some practice materials that you can just watch and maybe adopt to your own and then practice. And there might be some prompt templates that you can just lift and then adopt it to yours. And then there might be also some workflow examples on how maybe I'll be using ChatGPT to do my day-to-day activities if I am doing this specific use case repetitively. It might not be an automation, but it might be just a couple of things that I'll string together to say, okay, if I wake up today and I go to the office and I'm doing this work and I know I have to do this report on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. I have this folder that I have saved that has this prompt template that I just need to copy. I need to know what files to attach and all that, and then how to tell the prompt to give me a specific output. Then that's what I'll call a workflow, you know, and I can have that saved somewhere that I know every day when I'm doing anything, I can just go to that. That's what I mean by workflow. So I have something like that as well that you can use. And the most important requirement, I think, while you're taking this course is you have to be willing to put in the practice. You have to put in the effort. If you are not interested in practicing this, then I don't really understand why you're taking this course, um, because it is a practical course. And if you have any issues, obviously you can drop into the comments. In terms of, I think Udemy has an option for you to ask questions. I would do my best to review those and come back to you, or you can just look me up on LinkedIn and send me a private message to ask me any question. I entertain that as well. And the more you follow, and experiment with some of these examples, the more valuable the course becomes to you. So then now we can move on to the next section where we would now start seeing some of the things that will be explored. But before we go again, when I said you need some of these requirements, laptop, ChatGPT account, internet connection, basic office skills, ideally some other things that you need to make sure that you have access to is obviously your emails. So you're going to have to come up with emails, things that you want to use to follow along. For instance, in my lab, whatever I'm using, so I have an Office account. I have Office, I have Outlook, I have Word, I have Excel. I have all these apps that I'll be using to create or read some of these sample documents. I'm assuming that you have access to some of these resources as well to be able to use them. So this is an Office 365 account that I'm using for this. And you can see I have an email ready to go. I can open up Word, ready to go. I can open up Excel, ready to go. I can open up PowerPoint, ready to go. At least I have these apps that I can use to, interact with whatever use cases that we're working on. Because at the end of the day, in the office, you're going to be using this on your day-to-day basis. So that's another thing that if you want to follow along, maybe you have them. You don't necessarily have to have them, but it would be handy if you have them so you can just use them. And then you should have a ChatGPT account. I just double check the pricing. You can go with the free, and ideally, if you're already on a plus, then it's a plus. So I am on a plus account. So you can see at the bottom left there, I am subscribed to the plus account, and this is going to be where we'll be doing a lot of magic. So I'll see you in the next lesson where things get more interesting.